We've discussed the 5 various aspects of yourself. We've talked about the nervous system, we've spoken about the circulatory system, we've spoken about your skeletal system, we've spoken about your muscle system, and then finally we've spoken about your respiratory system. Now what we are coming to talk about is the part of yourself that deals with 90% of the complexity of breakdowns when it comes to what you eat. Be it that thing being of a solid nature, being of a liquid nature, or being of a gas digestion, each of them is being produced at this particular center part of yourself. And if you understand the way in which this part of yourself work into breaking things down, into breaking every complex kind of equation that you put inside of your mouth that travels all the way to 8 centers, then you will know exactly how to even divide your meals or cut down on your mailing system so that you can be able to cause the degradation or your stomach to shrink into going back to a level that you don't need to consume more than it actually needs. Instead of depending entirely on food for you to satisfy, you depend on the energy source that gave you the food in the first place. Every food has a certain limitations to them. But when it comes to the one energy that has no limitations, that is the energy that comes from the sun. Okay? So we are going to talk about your digestive system. I'm not going to go too deeply into biology. Like I said, if you want to understand, then you begin to take the process very seriously. When that happens, we will come back to them and then we will dig to each of them very deeply enough for you to understand everything or the hidden kingdom that is within the body that you have no idea of. This is what it was talking about. Understanding yourself from the inside allows you to replicate that or to reflect that onto the outside of you. And then it's about the left and then the right, you being in a balanced state of the middle. Do you understand what this means? Okay? So let's go to the board and then I'll explain it in a very simple manner. Okay? That way you'll get the understanding of it and why it needs, or your stomach needs, to be able to shrink in order for you to gain the consciousness that you are seeking. Okay, so let's go to the board. Okay, so when you look at this is basically your digestive system. Okay, this is the digestive system. This is your digestive system. Okay, whenever you eat food, be it that food is of a solid nature, be it of a liquid nature, or be it of a gas nature, anytime that you eat food, the first thing that it does is that it gets in touch with the very part of yourself that you call the tongue. Okay, the part of yourself that reflects the energy, or the part of yourself that first breaks down the information, be it of a solid or a liquid or a gas, is the tongue. The tongue are made up of small alveoli or small whole system. The tongue is part of the systems of you as the 5 physical senses. Your sense of taste. Okay? Your tongue works with your sense of taste. Everything that has to do with you tasting things happens to land with your tongue first. Your tongue will pick up the vibrations of that particular morsel of food that you've just chewed. Whether you've chewed it or not, that is why they always tell you that it is advisable for you to chew your food. Because once the food gets into the tongue needs to feel it, to feel that morsel of food that you've just swallowed. Okay, the tongue needs to feel it. So these particular glands, when the information is sent from the tongue to this particular gland, they excrete a particular hormone, or they excrete a particular enzyme. And this enzyme is part of the 12, okay, glands of the body system. 90% of you, when you understand what the glands of your being represent, you can be able to stop aging. Okay, you reducing in aging faster. You can be able to reduce aging if you understand every single gland inside of your system, and there are 12 of them. Okay, we are not talking about glands. Let's go back to your sense of taste. So whenever it takes in the information, it begins to send information to the glands to send out the enzyme that is capable of breaking that particular food, okay, into soluble forms by mixing it with certain kind of bacteria that allows the food that you've just taken, okay, to ferment. That is the first form of digestion inside of your entire being. It's a tank. When it gets to the tank breaks it down, and then you masticate it, mix it with enough saliva, and then you swallow it down. When you swallow throughout the throat, okay, there are certain enzymes inside of the throat too that is excreted. I told you, we are not going full biology, so let's just limit it like this. You will swallow it through the tongue, the esophagus, or your throat, and then it gets inside of your stomach. Immediately it hits inside of your stomach. Your stomach too is this one. This is your stomach, okay, the blue part of it, you know. My markers. Okay, that's your stomach. The blue aspect part of yourself is the stomach. So immediately the food lands into this particular stomach. The stomach too begins with the acid, okay, the stomach acid. And I tell you, this is one of the strongest acids inside of this world. This too also begins to cause fermentation to that particular morsel of food, breaking it a little bit further. It also begins to break that particular food that you've just eaten into a little bit further. And what happens is that the first process of breakdown happens inside of this place. Okay, the first process that it begins to distinguish your cells from a soluble state, from a liquid, and from a gas state. It begins inside of the stomach. Okay, so when you don't chew the food properly before you swallow, when it gets to this particular place, this place needs more acid, okay, more acid content in order to cause it to digest. That is why you usually end up, you do like, and then it will come back like acid reflux, You feel the pain inside of your throat. This is what happens. And through the breakdown of this particular place, these particular centers, this is your gallbladder, okay? This is your liver, this is your pancreas. This aspect part of yourself contribute a certain amount of energy, and the energies that they contribute is the energies that causes the further breakdown of whatever that is happening inside of this place. Okay, because after it has broken the food down from this place, it sends the food down. Do you understand? These are what you call the large intestines. Okay, these are your large intestines, and these are your small intestines. Okay, this is your gallbladder. I don't want to make this thing scientific. I didn't want to enable them so that we can move this thing very easily. That way you get the understanding instead of putting more focus onto the names, Okay, so that is what happens. This is generally what happens inside of your being. The food will be pushed from this particular part of your stomach all the way to the intestinal tract. Okay, and there are certain enzymes inside of this. Because of this one has excreted, and this one too has excreted, and this one too have excreted. These particular hormones that are here are receptive to everything that is being produced by one of these things. They understand that the food that is coming in needs to be worked in this particular manner through the information that they've put inside of this food, that it has been breaking down inside the stomach. Then they too begins to break the food down into another form. Okay, so from a 0 point like this, or from a zero way of the information that they receive, they break it down into like a semi angle like this. Okay, they begin to break the food down into a semi angle like this, and as the food keep going onto the tract, it gets into the small intestines, and that particular place to selective reabsorption happens at this particular part of your stomach, okay, where the intestines are big, That is where your stool, or what is being produced here, comes here, and then the minerals or the nutrition, okay? I told you your cells feeds on both liquid, solid, and then gas. Each of them is operating at different levels. So the energy is being extracted from here. This part of your place, the place or the food that is coming down. I don't want to call the name, but stool. Okay, let's just put the stool. The stool that travels down, okay? That particular stool that just moves down has a certain level of water content in it. Okay, this particular water content makes it very easy for it to move along the canal line for the reabsorption process to take place before it gets to the small intestines. Now when it lands into the small intestines, it further squeezes it. Okay, the small intestines further squeezes this one into a narrowing line. It squeezes it because now the water here, it has pulled out the water. Okay, it has pulled out the water, allowing the kind of energy that exists here is all out, except for one thing that is coming out onto the earth as what you call the discarded part of yourself. Do you understand? So when it comes to the small intestines, they squeeze out every bit of juice that is left, and then they distribute that all the way to your cells, because they understand that each of your cells needs an amount of energy. Your skeletal system needs an amount of energy. Your circulatory system needs an amount of energy. Your nervous system needs the same. All of them needs energy to keep working, and this is where everything is broken down. Do you understand this? Okay, this is very simple. I want us to do this, then I'll pick the stomach, and then we'll talk about how you usually eat, or your food, goes away to affect and how your stomach either increases or decreases. This one is understandable. Okay, so let's go to that. Let's pick your stomach. So this is your stomach, okay? This is generally your stomach. So what happens with the inner linings of your stomach depends on the level of understanding or growth that you are experiencing. When it comes to a particular child, or a small child, the level in which the stomach of that child is different from you, someone who is of an adolescent, okay? And it's also different from someone who is an adult, okay? It varies, but the original content of what the stomach represents doesn't change because you are this. It changes because of the factors that you have put inside of yourself that you call food. Okay? You can be a child that eats less or eat more. You can be a teenager that eats less or eats more. You can also be an adult that eats less or eat more. Each of these goes a long way to affect the state in which your stomach experiences and then interprets information. Okay? So when it comes to the context of the stomach is made up of a muscle system, a complex muscle system. And in this particular muscle system, if you haven't watched the muscle video, go and watch it, okay? The small linings of the uterus, or the small linings, I say uterus, the small linings of the stomach has the ability to squeeze like a balloon and has an ability to open like the balloon. The more you feed it with solid material, the more it expands. You understand? It's like putting water inside balloon. The more you drop water, keep dropping water, the more it keeps growing. One thing people don't understand about your digestive system is that it has the same function as your brain. Okay? It has the same function as your testes, your testicles, or your ovaries. Okay? They have the same function. How? When it comes to how you digest food, okay? You digest food through the way of the stomach. Right? Your stomach digests the food. When it comes to the digestion of information, what digests information? Your brain. Okay? Your brain is what digests information of a deeper level before it is passed down. When it comes to your testicles is the converter of light energy into matter. Do you understand? If that doesn't even go a long way to make things easier, I want you to look at the structure of the brain. It's like this. Okay? And I want you to calm down and look at the structure of your testes. It's like this. And I want you to calm down and look at the structures of your stomach. The intestines inside of your stomach, your digestive system is the same way. Okay? So each of these three things perform a particular responsibility that reflects the spirit nature of itself. Is this simple? Okay? So if you always understand what I'm saying, it's very good to put it at the comment section. Okay? It's very good to drop it there so that I will know that I'm not just pouring water on rocks, that you are actually attaining and getting the information that I'm putting out there. Because when it comes to the systems of you condensing from light into matter, you understand that you didn't just start as a baby. You started as nothing at all, something that your parents couldn't even detect that they were pregnant. Before you took a specific kind of weeks, when you started wearing a physical self, that is when they begin to detect that they are pregnant. Okay, so you are not just one thing. You are a spirit, okay, that manifested into various forms of yourself as a child, as an adult, and as a teenager. All these three particular forms is the reflection of yourself. So when it comes to your part of your stomach, that is where the fire exists. The fire is the spirit. The mind is the spirit, which is the fire. Okay, your testes or your testicles or your ovaries is the fire. That is where creation begins. So every one of these three things, your stomach, your testicles, and your brain, they are the abilities or the spirit essence of everything that breaks down. Spirit breaking down into matter. Okay, the food that you eat being broken down, and then the spirit is absorbed, and it is used to feed the spirit part of yourself, which are the protons, the electrons, and then the neutrons, your entire being. That is what keeps this particular body functioning. The cells is what makes up the tissues of the body. The tissues are what makes up the organs of the body. Do you understand? It is simple like that. You are built like a bridge, like how you built your house, brick by brick. That is exactly how the body builds itself. The spirit breaks itself down to build itself again. Okay, so when it comes to the absorption of the kind of essence that happens inside of your stomach, you need the energy of the sun. The sun energy powers your solar self. This is the solar. Okay, your solar plexus. We'll talk more about your solar plexus when we get your chakras. Now we are talking about the physical representation of yourself. When we get to the soul representation, and before we get to the spirit representation, then you will understand the three bodies of yourself. That's the mind, soul, and then the body. Now we are talking about the body. So we are talking about the solar energy. Okay, everyone inside of this world, I keep telling you, you take energy from the sun. The sun is what gives you energy. Okay, so from the sun absorption, every day the sun feeds your stomach. The sun feeds your cells. That is why when the sun goes down and then you keep eating, then digestion begins to slow down. It's not that it's not happening, it just slowed down. And someone that already is gaining body, and I say you are someone who doesn't involve yourself with much exercises, you begin to develop body very soon. You begin to cause an inflammation between your cells. Okay? You begin to cause slow movement of electricity, slow movement of circulation within your own being. Okay, but as long as you are involved in exercise, even if you eat somewhere around 12 p.m., okay, 12 a.m. during that nightfall, and then you still get up the next day when the sun comes out to burn that particular energy, you are okay. You can eliminate the mucus. It's about you putting in the work. Some of you eat and then you refuse to work. Okay, you eat but you refuse to eliminate it. That is usually the problem. When you eat and it stays inside of you, if it is the mechanism of the body to eliminate itself, unless it becomes too much. If it becomes too much for your body, then that is when your body begins to cause you to fall sick. So that you will know that there are certain things inside of you that needs elimination. When that doesn't happen, if your body still have a particular place where it can keep dumping all the mucuses of the body, if it has a specific place, like how you dump things in a dustbin, okay, to wait till it gets full or it smells plenty enough for you to actually call the border guy to come and take it. That is how it usually does. It keeps depositing them inside of your own self. And when it becomes too much, then that part of you begins to send the red signal, pain. Okay? You begin to feel certain kind of discomfort at a certain system part of your being, alerting you that there is change that needs to happen inside of the body. Apart from that, it doesn't happen. So if you just keep eating without involving yourself in any elimination process to maintain the particular self as above and then the soul below, then that is what usually happens. Okay? That is what usually happens. So when it comes to your stomach, the ability of it to contract or the ability of it to become small all depends on the rate of the things that you put inside of it. Do you understand? As the spirit essence of the sun, it has every ability to break down the food that you eat. Your solar plexus, your navel, your placenta, everything came from this, from your mother. So the center of your solar system, okay? Hey, you people are making me talk about something big. We've not gotten there yet. Okay, so this is the center of your star systems. This is the first symbol that I told you that when you are able to balance yourself, you begin to see the perfect representation or reflection of your own self. So this is the solar energy, this is the sun energy. The sun energy is in the middle among every constellation or every planet that you know. Okay, the sun is in the middle and the rest is the one that is circling the sun. So the sun has the ability to either magnetize things or has the ability to electrify it. That is what the me is. Okay, you are either magnetic or you are electric. When you are putting it on an EM, okay, you have just add the P. An electromagnetic pulse. That means that everything that you radiate. Okay? Hey, you people are making me go deep somewhere. That will end up turning this class into something. Okay? The EMP is like you. When I talk about your electromagnetic field, you have an energy that surrounds the field. Okay, so this field, or this energy that surrounds the field, is your electromagnetic pulse, the energy that beams out of it. Okay, the energy that beams out of it is your electromagnetic pulse, and it is this particular energy that is inside of your system. Okay, all your chakras are inside of your system. They are all inside of the basically your nervous system, your digestive system, your circulatory system, your respiratory system. But the way in which they are arranged, they are not all arranged in one particular line. That's one thing that most people don't get. Your chakras are not arranged in one particular line. No, this is how they are. They are like the constellations. One is here, another one is over there, another one is here, another one is over there, another one is here, another one is over there. Okay, you have to learn to push all of them from that particular path into one single straight line. Do you understand? That is by a way of you building your breathing. The more you breathe, they understand that this is the gate. Okay, this is the road that leads to the heavens. So instead of them to be in this particular form, they'll begin to realign themselves. Like the way you people are realigning yourselves. You begin to align yourself from the outside to the inside, from the outside to the inside, from the outside to the inside, and then you keep going like that. And before you realize, you will have enough breathing or enough air inside of your lungs to actually cause things to move from being a physical matter into being your spirit self as an extension of the proton and then electrons and then the neutron state of yourself. Is this understandable? Okay, so let's continue this. Let me clean the board. So when it comes to your digestive system, the most important thing that I want you to understand is that every single week, okay, every single 7 days, you need to do elimination. Every single 7 days. Okay, it doesn't mind whether you've eaten, it doesn't mind whether you've not eaten. Pick a particular day, be it 2 days, be it 3 days, somewhere along the week, to just fast yourself and then go for jogging. Okay, go for exercises, run around, get your body active, allow the cells to reformalize themselves. You will feel much better. Saturdays are a days for you to release. Even if you don't do anything, on Saturdays, don't do anything, just go for jogging. Go for, when you get up during daybreak, get a glass of warm lime, you drink it, and then you go for jogging. You jog until you come back. If it is midday, if it is 1 hour, 30 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, 15 minutes, it doesn't mind. Go for a particular jogging before you come back. You understand? So we've spoken about the stomach. We've spoken how it absorbs energy from the sun. That is the simplest form that I can put it for you to understand. Okay, now we are going to go into scheduling your meals. We are going to schedule it from you eating 5 times in a day to you eating in 4 times to you eating 3 times, 2 times, and how you can actually basically get it to a 1 time through which you can start listening to the glands of yourself. Because I told you, when you get to the glands, if you get the complete understanding of what your glands inside of yourself is, the 12 of them, you'll be able to stop a lot of things inside of your body. Okay, you begin to enhance and then grow certain part of yourself that you never thought was possible. Okay, so yes, let's go back. When you are someone, okay, who eats 5 times in a day, okay, someone that eats 5 times in a day, 90% of the time you don't actually see the benefits that you get from actually eating 5 times in a day, or you don't see the way in which it goes away to affect certain kind of functions inside of your own being. No one in this world or nothing in this world eats 5 times in a day and then grows in consciousness. It's a lie. Okay, let me be very specific on that. There is nothing inside of this world that eats, okay, without going through a detoxification process or elimination method that they still grow in consciousness. That is a scam. So when it comes to this particular world that you are living in, 90% of the time, there's always 2 forms of foods that you eat. The first form of food is from plants. Okay. The second form of food that you eat is from animals. These are the 2 forms of food. This is meat. Just put it that way. And this is vegetables and fruits. Veggies and then fruits. Okay. So when you look at this, let's talk about the plants nutrients or minerals that come from the plants. Plants absorb energy from the sun. I already told you this, so we are not going to spend much time on it. Plants absorb energy from the sun. So the energy that comes from the sun is its raw essence. The sun too has filtered the energy of the sun according to different vibrations. When I talk about that, I'm talking about it being in a red manner, in a blue manner, in a green manner, in a yellow manner, in a black manner. All the 7 primary colors of yourself, okay, it has divided itself into these particular forms, because understand that each of you inside of this world are operating at a different level of awareness. You are all operating differently. So it gives out the energy depending on the level that you are. That is the level of information or benefit that you are going to be getting from the sun. It is the same process. You will never see a mango tree growing a pear, okay? Unless it is mixed with a pear, it cannot grow a pear. So if it's a mango, it grows a mango. And the particular frequency that resonates with that particular mango is at a frequency of 6. And the particular frequency that resonates with that particular pear is at a frequency of 7. Okay? So when the sun gives out the energy, the mango takes the 6% part of it that it needs. Okay? And then the pear takes the 7% part of itself that it needs. Okay, and the beans take the 2% part of itself that it needs. So every single one, every single animal, every single plant that manufactures their own food, because plants too are also divided into divine male and then divine female. Okay, we have males and then female that live on separate bodies. You can see a plant like this, a guava tree that is male and a guava tree that is female. Those create their food through the process of what? Cross-pollination. You understand? There are instances where one plant like this, okay, can house the ability to grow its own food through the way of manufacturing. Photosynthesis doesn't mean that it doesn't have a man or a woman. No, it simply means that the way in which the flowers of it work, some of them are masculine and some of them are feminine, but they are all existing into the same tree. It's like a dodder. You know what a dodder is? Dodder is like you see a tree that is a mango tree, and you see another tree growing on top of that mango tree. That is a dodder. Okay, it's like a parasite kind of a hosting. So it has both feminine and then masculine. So this particular energy, all it does is that it blows its current from this point into this point. And this point blows its current from that point into this point. So fertilization happens. Without the divine male and female, there can never be the creation of life. It doesn't mind what you do. You are still going to be modifying it. It's still going to be a man and a woman. Okay? If you keep modifying it, it's still going to be, you need a sperm cell and then you need ovaries. It is ever going to be like this, no matter how much you verify things. Even if you remove the sperm cells and then the ovaries of the woman, give it to a particular robot to house the child for you, it is still this process. Do you understand? Those are the true spirit separate forms that the spirit took. When the spirit descended into matter, it took masculine and then feminine, but you are all regarded as man. That is the manifested or the material essence of what you have as the physical self. Okay? I hope this is understandable. So when it comes to the plant's nutrients, the energy that the plants gain from the sun is at a frequency of 70. Okay? It's at a frequency of 90%. Let's take it like that. When it comes to 90, it takes the energy and then it manufactures its essence of a pure, okay, a pure semi particles. What does the pure semi means or semi-pure particles means? It simply means that the sun's energy is of the pure essence. It gives life to all. It doesn't mind if you are a bad person or a good person. But it has taken that sun energy and it has condensed it into a particular fruit form that makes it semi, half. Okay, or 1/3 of the energy that it got from the sun. If they tell you to eat sun energy with your mouth, can you eat it? Okay, you eat it through your cells. You don't eat it through one particular mouth. Your cells are made up of your mouth. Your mouth are made up of your cells. You can't open your mouth and then you absorb sun energy. No, you close your eyes and then you open your cells and then you absorb it. That is how you eat the sun. Okay, so when it comes to the pure and then the semi, what it simply means is that the amount of energy that is taken here has been condensed down to a certain level. That is why it is able to create fruits. Okay, so the amount of energy that is contained in this particular fruit is 90. Okay, and not a complete 100%, because the 100% is what the sun produces. So it becomes a 90. And from that particular 90, you, the person, that is exactly the representation of what the 3 is. Okay, you pick the energy from the 3. Okay, and then you ingest it into your own self. So when it comes to the excretion of your salivary glands, the part of yourself that causes, okay, the breakdown of the food particles into smaller forms begins first. You don't need much saliva. Saliva plenty doesn't get excreted. Small saliva and it is okay. It gets inside of your uterus, immediately it gets inside of your stomach, then the enzymes there begins to produce very, very fast. Okay, any liquid that they produce, or the bile, or the pancreas, if they even produce a 1%, okay, of energy, it is enough to break down the food that you've eaten, because it is pure light. It has light essence much more than any other food that you could eat. So when that lands inside of your stomach, you begin to process it very quickly, and then distribution to your cells becomes very dominant. So immediately it lands, and then the energy is converted into the food is converted into pure energy. Your pancreas gets it. Your skeleton system, your circulatory system, your nervous system, your muscle system, your respiratory system, all of them begins to get a certain percentage of the energy that is just being relayed to them. Okay, so the issue always here happens to be with the fact that you get very hungry after eating these plants. Okay, plants. All right, you get very hungry after consuming plants. That is what happens, because you are consuming an energy closer to the energy of the sun. When I tell you to eat the sun, if you tell someone who is ignorant to get up every day and eat the sun, they will look at you and be like, you are loco. Okay, they will not understand what you are talking about. But we have to understand that a condensed form of everything that you are experiencing inside of this world is the material formation, or the physical representation of what the sun is. Okay? It is you. You are in the middle. The Christ consciousness. The sun is in the middle. Your brain, in part of your middle that controls the 12 centers of your brain, is the same centers that control everything inside of this physical realm when it comes to the representation of what the sun is. Okay?